Welcome to our study on the Maccabean Period. In our last study, we looked at the Greek period, and there was increasing pressure on the Jewish people to become Greek and take on the Greek way of life. And then finally, under Antiochus IV, it became downright persecution. The Jews were outlawed from practicing the Jewish religion under penalty of death. And so it just was beginning to become intolerable for many of the Jews. Well, some Jews actually caved in during this time period and succumbed to the pressure to become more Greek-like. But then there were other Jews who remained faithful to God's covenant and faithful to their traditions. So things got more and more polarized. Those who were becoming Greek and those who did not want anything to do with Greek life or Greek culture. And it reached a breaking point under a time called the Maccabean Period. And that name comes from a family that was headed by a priest by the name of Mattathias. And Mattathias was pretty much being forced to perform a sacrifice to the Greek gods at an altar. And he just decided he couldn't do it anymore. Anger just welled up within him. He ended up killing one of the Greek soldiers that were there, and they literally had to flee for their lives, fearing retaliation from the Greeks, who outnumbered them, had superior armed forces. But this began the Maccabean revolt. And Mattathias' sons and grandsons just continued this on. And it lasted for about 100 years. They achieved freedom to govern themselves, freedom to worship the way they wanted to. But as time progressed, the Jews began fighting each other, and a civil war broke out. And about 63 BC, Rome saw the tensions were so great in Israel, they came in, conquered it through a general by the name of Pompey, and Israel lost everything they had gained in terms of political freedom. Well, what are some of the significant developments of the Maccabean period? Well, it left a thoroughly Jewish Israel. Had there not been this revolt, there's a good chance that pretty much all the Jewish people, or most of the Jewish people, would have gotten assimilated into Greek culture. But this revolution left a very Jewish Israel by the time we come to the pages of Matthew in the New Testament. And it expanded the borders of Israel back to the glory days of David and Solomon. Thirdly, the Jewish religion during this time period was splintering into various factions, various parties like the Sadducees, the Pharisees, the Essenes. And fourthly, the fourth significant development of this period is the hope for Messiah was strong, especially when they came under the domination of the Romans leading up to the New Testament. But God was using all the events of the Maccabean period to prepare for the coming of Messiah in His perfect timing.